We're live on YouTube. Feels good. Feels good. It's different. I know I have 1,300 or so followers and people who watch me on Twitch. So this is new. This is new, getting used to doing this stuff on YouTube, and I'll figure it out. I see Tim in there. He's like, yo, let's go. Listen, man, I don't know all these buttons. I don't know what I'm looking at. It's a weird dashboard, and I got to get used to it. I'm looking forward to it, too. Let's go. What's up, Napoleon? What's up, Lincecum? Tonight, we're going to talk about some DraftKings KBO DFS 519 slate. I know it's kind of weird Monday slate, right? You call it a Monday slate, but it's Tuesday at 5:30 in the morning. Wild times we're in that we're all waking up at 5 a.m. to play Korean baseball, daily fantasy sports. But I'm okay with it. I mean, sports are sports, and investing, we'll call it investing, is investing. So let's make some money together. This is new, man. Oh, I'm pumped. I'm freaking pumped. It's exciting. So I am going to drop. What's up, Huskers? Yeah, buddy. Pack Fitness, my dude, Wes. Yo, I love seeing all you guys there. So I'm seeing some of my Twitch crowd roll into YouTube, and that's pretty dope. I'm gonna flap over to this live scene real quick just to give you something cool to look at. Allie, hey, so good to see you. Like, I have so much joy inside of me right now. It just wants to bubble out. It is so cool to see people tuning in, doing a live stream pretty much for the first time in post-pandemic, to break down sports. You know, I've hopped on a couple times, say hello, tell you about some news and projections and all sorts of stuff I'm doing. But this is the first one where I'm kind of breaking down a slate, and I want to talk about it today. And then we're going to hop over and we're going to do some MME as well and I've got this set up through Fantasy Cruncher for DraftKings. And we're going to talk about some of my stack settings and teams I'm on and all that good stuff. So let's get to work, okay? It's been a hot minute since we've done this together. I'm going to, because I'm so jacked up, I'm so excited to share this with you guys. Let me share this view only, whatever, it's fine. We'll give this one away for free here. I'm just excited. I can't help myself. I hope that works. It's a share link. The normal link that you grab and download is on Patreon. So if you want to check that out, you can go ahead and grab that on patreon.com/riseorfall. Seeing you stream makes me miss NBA. Michael, dude, I miss NBA so much. It's not even funny. Number one, the community vibe for NBA is fantastic. I mean, you can't get more people who are super passionate about one thing into a Discord or a Slack channel, whatever you want to do it, and all be excited, enthusiastic, anxious, nervous, revved up, firing questions, bouncing ideas, strategies, stats, all these things off each other for one common goal: to win. And it's like the best half hour of the DFS day year round is that last half hour before NBA. And we're replacing it. You know, we're replacing with some of these offshoot sports, KBO, and I'm looking into doing some COD because I freaking love it. I'm a gaming nerd. You know, we did NASCAR this past it was a Sunday. I can't remember. We had Bundesliga soccer on Saturday. I have a soccer sheet out today. I hope somebody used it for the showdown slate on DraftKings as well. And I think soccer is again on Friday. But I digress. I mean, we're replacing sports with, I guess our main sports with these kind of side sports, right? KBO is for sure one of them. Racing League or Rocket League, freaking RL. I mean, I'm starting to look in the scheduling for RL. I'm starting to pull stats and figure some of this stuff out so I can provide content for it. You know, we're filling in our time. A massive fantasy football package put together through Patreon because I'm excited about fantasy football. I'm almost positive. I mean, if there's any sport that has the closest chance to return here in the States, the quickest out of the main ones there, MLB, NBA, and NFL, it's got to be NFL. And I would be totally shocked if we do not have an NFL season. So we're biding our time until NFL comes, right? And NASCAR, PGA, MMA, all those kind of returning now. We've got 3 more NASCAR slates over the next 9 days, I believe, or 4 more over the next 9 days. It's going to be fun. Wednesday we have one. I think another one on Saturday, and then next Tuesday. I don't remember the dates, but PGA, June 11th, I want to say. MMA back on the 30th and then the 6th. I mean, things are returning. We're starting to return to normalcy to some extent here. And for now, we're going to crush what we can, and it starts tonight, KBO. It's been so long since I've been on a live stream. I can't stay focused on one thing. I just want to I want to go off on all these tangents because I miss y'all and I just want to talk. I just want to talk with you. But here we are, okay? Listen, you want to hop in my Discord, talk about this stuff, and just kind of meet some other cool people, by all means, I'm going to drop that Discord link in. Actually, what am I doing? I got to get used to what all the people say on YouTube. Down below, right? They start pointing. Down below in the description, there's a Discord link and a Patreon link. Go ahead and click those if you want some goodies. And what's the other cool thing everybody says? They do this, right? And they're like, oh, right over here, go ahead. You see that thing down there? Click that subscribe button. And up here, there's a bell. Go ahead, hit that notification. Look at that. I'm a YouTube streamer. I feel so cool and accomplished. All right, let's see here. Pretty sure I wasn't pointing in the right directions. Make sure I get all the up-to-date stuff here. All right, let's get paid. So, let's do it. The data sheet that I pumped out today, my team of wizards put this together for me. We're still working on it. We're still going to put some cool stuff in there and add some things as we are able to gather statistics, right? And we've got it sorted initially by at-bats just so we can kind of see some of these guys who are likely to be the starting lineup, right? I mean, it's kind of hard. There's other sites out there that have projected starting lineups, but if you notice those, they're not entirely accurate. You know, you get like 5 or 6 correct each night, 7 sometimes on a good night. So, I mean, I'm not totally relying on it. I've been starting to just sort it by at-bats and see who are the guys who are playing the most frequently, and it's worked out. I mean, for the most part, you get most of these guys in the top half. It's not like the States where they have these guys who are big platoon type players. I mean, they don't have the birth of talent, right? So it's like, whomever the best players are, they're just going to play every night. They don't have righty versus lefty platoon guys because they're massive power hitters and they'll go in there against a lefty because they can smash lefties, but they suck against righties. You know, that's not the way Korean baseball is. And we're just going to play most of these guys here. You're going to see that have the most at-bats. You're going to see a high percentage of these guys, especially as the season progresses and these guys have more at-bats. The sample size is large enough to get some solid statistics. And we're going to start to get some accurate readings on these teams, their strikeout rates. So if you look down here at this sheet right here, this is saying for the NC pitchers, the opposing team, the Doosan Bears? Yeah, they have a 12.7% strikeout rate. So that's how you would use this sheet, okay? Now, anyways, I'll let y'all kind of look through this on your own time. I dropped that sheet in the YouTube chat, and I also posted it on Patreon. So make sure you grab that off Patreon, okay? I'm going to go over to the KBO analysis tab. We're going to talk about this, and then we're going to go over to Fantasy Cruncher, and we're going to pump out some MME, baby. So, again, what I did is I used this. I looked at some Vegas lines, and I researched pitchers a ton for when I am deciding who my teams are that I'm going to stack and create my pitching pool. So I've got my cheat sheet. I did all my research earlier today. Kids were napping, and here we are. Okay, so we're going to talk about the NC Dinos here. Listen, they had an implied run total of 4.98 at 2 p.m. Eastern. I've seen that climb by almost half a run since, and I was on them at 2 o'clock for one reason. Number one, the starting pitcher, right? So we've seen that as these ball clubs pull out their bullpen arms and grab these guys off the street to try to throw a baseball, they suck. I mean, the bullpens are awful. And going back for 2 years looking at this stuff, well, I guess you call this year and last year. Last year, it was much of the same. The bullpens are awful. It's just kind of how KBO is. And I was looking at what the Doosan Bears bullpen looks like, and they are actually currently the worst bullpen in all of the Korean Baseball League, with over an 8.0 ERA and a whip nearing 2.0. I mean, that is awful. And their starting pitcher tonight is somebody who can't control the ball. He actually is somebody who pitches to contact, has very little strikeout potential. And this goes back to 2019. Looking at his 2019 stats, the guy, he pitches to contact, and I think he only had 90 Ks in like 160 innings. I mean, he does not strike anybody out. And you cannot pitch to the Dinos here asking for them to, get some poor contact on the ball. These guys are really good hitters. They are 10-1 for a reason. They have a very good offense. Doosan does as well, but we're going to talk about why I'm not entirely on them tonight. And we're going to keep going here. If you guys have questions while I do this, just like we did together on Twitch, fire off your questions. I will get to them. I got to get used to how I'm going to set up my office here in the new house. I think this might be one of my first streams in the new house, actually. That's interesting. All right, so the Giants tonight have a nice matchup against Min Woo Lee. Min has a 6.18 ERA and a 1.67 whip. He was bad in 2019. He had a 1.64 and a 5.45 ERA. So the guy has a 2-year track record here of just being miserable. I mean, that is awful. And you can't do that against the Giants. They have some potent offense there, opportunities to kind of go ballistic. And, that was shown today when I looked at the Vegas lines, and they were at a 5.51 at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I believe that has climbed since. I'll have to look. They have plenty of upside. So one thing I'm doing here is I'm suggesting 5-man stacks tonight on the Dinos and 5-man stacks on the Giants. Now, if either of these teams are going to end up being higher exposed teams, that means you're going to have a lot of ownership, not just on individual players, but on the entire team stack-wise. I'm going to go out of my way to be overweight on one or both of those teams in large 5-man stacks, with the hopes that one of those teams goes bonkers 12, 15 runs. And, I have maybe 15 or 16 Giant stacks, 5-man Giant stacks out of my 20 lineups. Or if I'm doing 150 at like 130 out of 150. Just so that, for the field, let's say the field, 20% of all lineups have Giant stacks, maybe half of those lineups, so half of the 20%, are 4- and 3-man and 2-man stacks. My 5-mans blow those out of the water. So now I'm immediately, with my 80% exposure to them, I'm against only half of the ownership on the Giant stacks against the rest of the field. I know it's a lot of weird math, but it makes sense. Now, the Bears, okay? So this is a team that I know everyone's pretty much just been like, just play them all the time. Just throw them out there. And I get it. I like them. The low strikeout rate of 12.9% is redonkulous, but man, as weird as it sounds, they have a tough matchup tonight against Mike Wright. And, they have massive upside. You're going to have to play them. And I think being on a 5-game slate, it's difficult to really just like fade anybody. It's also difficult to go all in. You can kind of hover more towards the middle of things, like your scale is shrunk a little bit. On those 10-game slates or so, you can go super wide, totally fade somebody or all in on somebody. You don't need to do that on a 5-game slate with only 10 games. And if you want to, you can kind of get rid of the extremes on both ends of the scale. You don't have to go all in if you don't want to. You don't have to go total fade if you don't want to. But the 4 offenses I'm targeting here are Dinos, Giants, Bears, and Heroes. I'm going to go like probably no higher than a 4-man stack on Doosan. I just don't think the investment is worth the return tonight to go 5-mans on Doosan. I think that the probability of hitting that potential is likely a lot lower than normal. So I see no reason to go 5-man stacks on something that's probably going to be a pretty volatile proposition. Focus on the Bears with 2-man stacks or 3-man stacks, being on the short side of like a 5-2 on DraftKings. What that means is you'd have a team. What's up, Rachel? Hey, good to see you. What that means is you'd have a team with, let's say I have the Dinos with a 5-man stack, and then I game stack and I have 2 from the Bears on the other side. Or maybe I have the Giants in a 4-man stack and the Doosan Bears with a 3-man small-sided stack. Okay, so they're probably going to be on the lower end for that as me. For me, the KBO Heroes, now they don't have as much upside because I don't think their offense is as good. They're a decent team. They're 7-4 in the season. They got a decent matchup against Ricardo Pinto. Kid just has struck out just 4 hitters in 11.1 innings, but he's walked 7. The kid doesn't have much control, and I think that the Heroes, with their kind of hit to contact type ball club, I mean, you look at their ISO, team ISO, and all that stuff is low. They're just not the greatest hitting team, at least not yet. I mean, I don't know. Some of these guys might be fantastic and starting slowly. We'll find out, I guess, as their sample size increases. But I'm not going to be targeting them when I have the Dinos and the Giants with good matchups, with the Dinos facing a pitcher they can probably get after pretty quick and run them off the mound and then get to the worst bullpen in the KBO. I mean, I love the Dinos. I'm going to be targeting them and the Giants a lot. But here's the thing. I think the Dinos actually might be one of the highest exposed, likely the highest exposed team tonight. So I'm going to try to go ahead and pivot a little bit here on a team that I think will be a little less popular just by name brand. Just the Dinos, man. Dinos and Doosan. Everybody always stacks these teams. The Giants here, they're like a 3rd or 4th tier type stack, but I'm going to make them my number 1 tonight. So, all right, let's move down here. If you are using this sheet right now, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Blue Devils. Oh, baller. Love it. Let me drop this in here in case I have new viewers, and then we're gonna switch over to FC. And I didn't get a chance to drop this into the FC Discord, so I don't know if this is really like an FC stream, but I know I have a ton of people from Twitch that followed me for the FC stuff, so I'm going to cater some of what I do tonight for FC. There'll be nights, by the way, that after I talk to Manny and Dave, where some of my streams will be entirely FC streams, where it's not going to be even talking about my sheets, my picks, my plays. I'm just going to hop into FC, and we're going to create some lineups together. We're going to MME, because that's what I do, baby. I'm an MME freak. What's up, Sean? Good to see you. What's up, Jay? I like do things. Yeah, you guys enjoy that, okay? I hope that helps you out. Again, remember, the Data Hub, this is where you're going to get all your stats, okay? You go over here, this is where you get your analysis on the said stats. Makes sense? All of what I do is pretty much going to follow this type of structure. You're going to get a bunch of data for whatever the sport, NASCAR, PGA, COD, NBA, soccer, NHL, all of these things. I mean, every single thing is going to be covered, and then you'll get analysis on that thing, and then you'll hop into Discord and we'll talk about it, and we'll build some lineups together. We'll make some money and go ham. Now let's talk about pitchers here. I'm going to start from the bottom up, from the least popular for me. Mike Wright is purely a leverage play tonight. I know people use that word often, leveraging ownership. So if we think that Doosan Bears are going to be one of the top 3 owned teams tonight, which I think they will, just because they continue to smash, Mike Wright is a nice leverage option against that ownership. So let's say 1 out of every 5 teams has Doosan Bears in the lineup, whether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on DraftKings, whatever. You can leverage all of that ownership by just purely not using Doosan and using the opposing pitcher. And we just happen to have a solid opposing pitcher in KBO standards in Mike Wright. Okay, couldn't make it in the States. Here he is in KBO, looks great. So you can leverage the popularity of Doosan by rolling out Mike Wright on the lineup, in your lineup. That is something that if you're doing a single lineup tonight, 1 or like a 3 max, go out of your way to make sure that you have Mike Wright in there to leverage that ownership. Baseball is all about all or nothing, in my opinion. I don't think you play it safe. I think you can do it a little bit differently in different sports. You've got to embrace the volatility. A very wise man used to say on another Twitch stream for a year, fortune favors the bold. I mean, you're not going to go out there and win a tournament. Definitely not in baseball, especially in a sport where there's not a lot of home runs, by being safe. You got to take some chances. You got to make some bold calls and hope fortune follows you there. David Buchanan, struck out, last game, struck out 8 hitters in 7 innings. .77 whip is the lowest on the slate. Looks pretty good. Has that strikeout potential, which is what I really want on DraftKings. I need that strikeout potential. So you could do a combination like David Buchanan and Mike Wright and then load up on the bats, because you should have a decent amount of money at that point. I see nothing wrong with that. Let's go here to Chan Yu Lim. Okay, so he is against the Samson Lions, who are not very good. I believe they're 4-8 this year, or 4-7. They don't have the greatest hitting team, and they have one of the higher strikeout rates at 22.3% as a team. Where I found that was down here when I found the Samsung, the LG pitchers, right? So it shows opposing team K percentage. So we know LG faces Samsung tonight. So the strikeout rate for Samsung is 22.3%. That's how I got that, okay? All right, so he looks sharp in his last start, racked up 7 Ks in 6 frames on his way to a quality start. There you go, FanDuel. Now, the matchup was against SK, who we're going to talk about in a second. They're 1-10. They're the worst team in the league, which is why my favorite pitcher of the night, who's likely a shoe-in for the victory, is Won-Tae Choi. And my man gets a matchup against the 1-10 SK Wyverns, who are basically a bad offense. I mean, they're 1-10, low IRT, and KBO standards of 3.79. That's bad. And Choi gets to face off against his team. And I went back 2019, looked at his numbers, 3.38 ERA and a 1.28 whip. So, I mean, we have a track record here, and that was a solid sample size of innings. And I think that if, the 2.98 ERA and 1.24 whip are just indicative of the fact that he pretty much picked up where he left off last season. And we don't have a big sample size this year, but just going back to last year, I mean, the guy seems to be, as far as KBO standards, he seems to be a very good pitcher. Yeah, Allie, who did say fortune favors the bold? That's so weird. Really smart guy, though. I bet he's bald and like super handsome. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right, let's do some FC. So over here on Fantasy Cruncher, greatest optimizer in the history of the world, we are going to set up some stacks in 5-2, baby. Now, you can see the 5 side. I did Doosan, I did NC. We talked about these teams, the Tigers and Kiwoon Heroes. Okay, so I've got my 4 offenses that I want to have set up with larger stacks, and I currently have them set up for 5s. Now, the 2-man stack side, I actually just left it like this. I'm going to see what it looks like as it comes out with like an initial crunch, and then I will pivot. Okay, I'll adjust, I'll modify my stacks, and I'll probably take some teams out, like the SK. We'll leave them in there for the fun of it, but we'll probably take SK out. They're so bad. All right, so I roll 3 uniques. I do not cap my ownership. I had this conversation in Discord today in the Legends channel. That's my coaching channel. I don't like to cap exposure in baseball. There were times last year where I had 150 max lineups in the $5, what is that called? The $5 curveball. What is that? $750 in. Yeah, that one's a really nice setup. You can max 3% of the entire tournament. I think it's like 150 lineups out of 5,000 or like 4,900. It's a beautiful tournament, and I would play that one, and I would roll out 135, 140 4- and 5-man stacks with the Boston Red Sox, and I'd see JD Martinez in 90% of them, and I would have hundreds of dollars on the line, 150 lineups, and nearly 90% of them are invested into one player and one team, and I'm okay with it. If said player and said team goes bonkers, I am way above the field, even if they're highly owned. Even if JD Martinez has a 30% ownership, which he did on a lot of slates, I would be way over the field exposure-wise. So for every team that has 30% stacks of Boston, I have 3 times the amount of them because I had 90%. So while they're out there with 50 and I'm closing in on 140, I mean, I've got 90 more opportunities where I was on the right team against all those people out there that have 40 lineups with them, 50 lineups with them, or if you're doing 20 lineups, I've got 18 out of my 20 where I'm on one team. And if they go bonkers, I have 8 to 10 more chances than likely a very high portion of the field who's on the Tigers or something on 50% or something like that. So I am always about being all in baseball. And I won the Minimax probably 4 or 5 times last year doing this. I'm probably going to scale up a little bit this year and apply some of these principles to the $5 a little bit more. And thank you, Super Draft, for your NBA product. I brought home $28,000 over like 60 days. So I'm going to reinvest that into KBO and NASCAR and all this crap until NBA comes back. And then I'll be very sad, likely lose it all. So we'll see how this goes. So I've capped all these teams, 3 max that I did not want, 3 max stacks here. I left 5 max on the teams that I did not mind having the 5-man stacks. Embrace the volatility, baby. It's freaking Korean baseball, man. We don't know enough. Projections are not sharp enough. Not yet. They'll get there. So I'm embracing the volatility, randomness up here at 20%, team stacks. I already showed you this one, and that's it, my friends. I keep it simple. I don't do too much here. I'm not even going to mess with the salary. I think there's opportunities here where the algorithm of pricing is probably bonkers for DraftKings. There's guys mispriced all over the map, and I don't care about what my min salary ends up being, $46,000 on a team. Truly, will my lineup be that much better spending another $2,500 on another player? I had no clue, and I don't know if the algorithm knows, and I'm just going to embrace the volatility. So here we go. Went over to pitchers. I X'd out my guys. You guys know this is where I like to control things. This is where my type A personality comes in. I control my pitching pool. So I have Choi, Wright, Buchanan, Lim. You ask, where did you get that, Mitch? Well, it's on the riser fall analysis sheet, and I got that by going through the sheet and picking out which pitchers I wanted to use based on the opposing team's strikeout rates and stuff like that. Make sense? All right. Okay, here we go. So we're going to crunch out some lineups. Watch how fast this is, man. I freaking love Fantasy Cruncher. I'm so excited. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I literally got chills. It felt so good. Whew, let's look at our pitchers. Hey, my favorite pitcher. I already talked about him. Choi, my man. Got him at 100%. I'm in. You know, he's the best chance of getting a victory tonight against SK. They are just butt cheeks. They stink. They're 1-10. They can't hit. High strikeout rate, 22.3% or whatever it was. Mike Wright, the leverage option. Now, if you want to see something cool here, you can look at, I got to get off here in a hot second. My wife and I are doing a Zoom call with friends and family. So thank you, by the way, for supporting me being on here tonight. Pretty sweet. Good to be live streaming again. I hope my Twitch crowd I hope they find their way over to YouTube, though, I tell you that. So let's see. Mike Wright, 12%. If you want it, or 60%, if you want to see something cool, you can click stuff like this, right? This little magnifying glass, my favorite thing for NFL. You click this magnifying glass, and now it will show me from my 12 Mike Wright lineups, how many times do I have said teams, right? All right, so I went over the team stack. Now I know I have Mike Wright with the, was it Lottie Tigers, right? They're the Tigers. Let me bring this up real quick. Giants. Oops. All right, so I've got Mike Wright with the Giants in a 100% of my stacks. 4 out of my Mike Wright teams have 3-player stacks using the NC Tigers, and the Kiwan Heroes have 2 3-man stacks. So if you ever want to look and see like, well, who are my pitchers paired with? That's what I do. I'll click this little bar, this little magnifying glass, and if it's not like nice setups for what I want stack wise, I will delete those lineups and I will edit them. So let's look at my team stacks. Well, we talked about it, and we talked about the reason why, and I looked into this a little bit earlier. I'm gonna mess it up again. Giants. Yeah, the Giants. The Giants, their prices are cheap. So when I ask FC to give me 5-man stacks, it is jamming in some of these guys. They have the highest IRT in the slate, and they're facing a pitcher who stinks. So, do I feel comfortable with that initially? I want some more exposure to NC. I do like that I have 6 NC 2-man stacks, and I now have 5 3-man stacks. So I have 11 total, and let's see. Yeah, I have 11 total. You can look at your combos. So, I'll probably delete some of these, right? So what I'll do is I'll probably take some of these 5 3 stacks out, so you can search them, and then simply delete a few of them. And then what I would do is go back through and make sure that I get some NC 5-man stacks. So I would adjust the NC hitters projections and boost them up a little bit. You can go ahead and hit this. I believe the thumbs up is 8% boost or 12% boost. I'll check with Dave or Manny or one of those guys. I think it's like a 10 or 8 to 12% boost. I want to say 8%. That's what I remember from the NFL. So I'll boost some of these so that I get some NC stacks. Now, again, guys, this is just initials, guys, girls, because these are projected lineups. These are projected and assumed lineups. There's nothing official. All right. We're back, though, huh? Felt good. Felt good to get back in the saddle. Check out patreon.com/riserfall, and I hope to see you guys, you gals, in Discord winning some money with me. Discord filling up. We have over 200-something people in there already, and we have been live for all of 12 hours and 13 minutes. I love it. So we had a bunch trickle in last week during pre-launch. That was fun. And here we are. Here we are doing some live streams. But listen, I hope everybody wins some money. Set that alarm 5 a.m. Make sure you get up, check weather. Weather looks okay right now. Just a little bit cooler. No rain. Doesn't look like rain. So who knows? I mean, weather could change. Some of these reports could be off. Pay attention. Lottie Tigers. Lottie Giants up to 577. NC climbing up 525 IRT. Interesting. Okay. And SK is still, SK has dropped from 379 to 3.49. Holy moly. Yeah, I mean, what did I have? 100% on Choi tonight? Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm keeping. All right. If you're still here, let me do my YouTube thing. Hit that sub button. Hit subscribe. Daily videos. Daily live streams. Daily everything. Let's do this, baby. Together, we rise. Well, let me make it official. Let me make it official. You ready? Y'all remember that let's get paid punchline. Well, that's dead. That's dead. Together, now it's together, we rise or fall. That's not bad. Hit that sub button.